Find your path with the knowledge of others and become an illuminator for those who struggle. Guide their way just by being true and being in alignment, because it comes naturally to you. On self-discovery wisdom, we share to find inspiration with lessons for millions. We hope you listen.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Building Your Business right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Torre. My guest today, all the way from Brazil, is Mike Q. We're going to be talking about total freedom. What does that mean? He says the future is unpredictable, but it does not mean that you have to leave your family's future up to chance. You are here to take charge of your family's future and consider these factors independently. His personal mission in life is to help families achieve their freedom. And of course, it varies by family to family. However, the critical overlap is financial freedom. Imagine family function in every family can make decisions without financial scarcity. And the children growing up in a household where their upbringing isn't bound by finances. He is fortunate enough to know that at least one way to achieve this, and that's the method as he wants to share with you all today. In fact, he is an oil and gas company provided direct oil and gas well ownership to investors, just a slice of that mission. It's one thing for you to share the concept and roadmap with folks and say good luck, but much more impactful is to share the roadmap and give concrete steps to take this year for people. That's how he can actually achieve the impact for families. He started in the software industry where the salary was great and was just passing with very little freedom to show for it. And after close to a decade, it was enough for him. He went off to build his financial freedom first and then show a path that people can do, which is a proven way. We're going to be talking about that today. And of course, total freedom, always feels so elusive to people. What do you mean freedom? We're always bound by something. But here you are, you live in two countries, and there's another country that you're going to add to your residency this year. And freedom, I think, does start with being financially secure. Because then we have the freedom to explore life, don't we? But if the finances aren't there, then you're bound to the salary. So welcome to the show, Mike.
I am delighted to be here, Sarah. And like yourself, when I started this journey, total freedom was a thing I was after, but again, it was also broad for me. What does that mean? And even today, I'm sure it is very broad for every family, and it's unique for every family. And really today, I just wanted to walk through kind of my journey and show that at least one path of achieving specifically the financial freedom side, because that is one of the underpinning of how you can achieve the other kinds of freedom. We're going to cover, geographical freedom. We're going to cover political freedom, financial freedom, of course. And I call it family freedom or spiritual freedom. It's how you want to run your family. Nothing about, religion or anything like that. It's just how you want to run your family. You can incorporate religion if you'd like to, or some other ways of coming together, communicating as a family, and making decisions. And at the end of the day, I'm just a simple father trying to build this thing for my kids, showing them that there is at least two paths of going about life. I started in the corporate world in software engineering. So that has taught me about thinking in systems. I tend to see everything in systems. And same thing here. When we set up a total freedom framework, it's a system. It's not this one thing that you do once and then call it done.
Right.
Something that you keep working on. So really my journey started in the corporate world. I've since left that software career, even though I have a lot of friends there, and went into business 2018 while still working the software, and completely quit in 2021. That's been my journey. And I've been growing, creating businesses, working with businesses, partnering with businesses since then. And it's at the end of the day, it's a lot of fun, I'll say.
A few things there. If you don't love what you do, it's going to reflect in what you do. Why do it if you don't love it, right? Because if we're going to put so many hours in a day to a business, it's got to be something that's driven by a mission, by a purpose that you will get up and do every day because you really do love it. The other thing is, I don't care, freedom in the family, freedom of expression, freedom of exploration, freedom of love, where everything always comes down to finances. And we love to say that the true economy is enrichment and abundance of the heart, soul, and spirit, and our meaningful purpose. But we still are physical creatures that need a roof over our head, food in our stomach, and financial security. If we have that financial security, if we can invest in something, if we can find a passion and a love that we love to do that provides that, it allows for the exploration of everything else. But without the finances, we would love to be that free spirit, but how do we do that if we're worrying about money?
Yes. And directly, I even think the way to make the world a better place, even though that's very cliche these days, is to have as many as possible families that can decide what's best for them
Mm-hmm.
and conduct themselves in the world without incentives that would otherwise dissuade them from the
Yeah.
optimal choice. And to break that down, really, it's the way I think about it. If I can impact 1,000 families, 10,000 families, hopefully, to get them to a spot where they can just choose what's best for them and act in a way that
Mm-hmm.
helps society. I mean, there's no incentive then to actually go to war. There's no
Yes.
incentive for stealing. There's no incentive for any of these things. And just it's to get rid of the scarcity mindset
Yes.
and create this abundance.
Some equality abundance, not just the hierarchy. Everybody could have this abundance, right? And
Yeah.
it's not the trickle down effect. It's just everybody being given the opportunity. And we kind of look at it as opportunities only for those people. They're not for us. But opportunity can be for everyone to, do something that's meaningful. And I go back to the meaningful, because if it's not meaningful, you're going to resent it. If it's not meaningful, it's not going to feed you. It may provide money, but it's not going to feed you. Um, we want to have that, you talk about systems, and I'm not a very systematic person. I wasn't wired that way. However, I've had to learn to be more systematic, A, in raising children, and B, in business. When you put a system in place that works for you, it is your employee, so to speak. It's something that allows you to know when to expand or when not to expand, or this is the free time. It's the choice. And I think a lot of people feel they don't have a choice. It's just the day to day. They're getting by, they're struggling. Well, I can have a choice. I can make investments. I can expand. A lot of people think that's not for them because it's only for those people. But if you're willing to take, the glasses off and kind of really look at something deeper, there's always an opportunity if you're willing to see what choices are out there.
Yes, let's break that myth today, Sarah. Let's break the myth of those that think somehow success or financial freedom is just for others,
Mm-hmm.
not. And I've met people from on the social ladder. They come from everywhere. And usually what I see is the people that have it by regular financial measurement, that have the most amount of money, the most amount of success, they usually come from the bottom.
Yeah.
Because scarcity got them started, but
Yes.
knowledge and the mission kept them going.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll break down today.
Right. Let's break that down because, knowledge is just knowledge until you actually kind of touch the feeling, the attachment to the knowledge. What knowledge is relevant? How do you feel what knowledge is something that kind of excites you or really can generate or really can set you on that path, right? Because people can have knowledge, but they don't often know what to do with it. And when you can actually connect to that knowledge in a feeling, oh, I see it, I understand it, I understand what that knowledge is trying to tell me, then it becomes that invite to actually move forward.
Yes, 100%. And I will share what I think to be the most important number, and we could classify that as knowledge. But we'll
Mm-hmm,
also take concrete steps and explain, total freedom, this oil and gas company that I'm a part of, they all tie together. And it's actually the result of this formula that I will share and list out, explain why it is important, what it's for, and just how relevant it is to essentially it's a score to track how free are you on the financial realm.
okay, so
So
let's take step one.
let's take step
What's
one. Total freedom. I listed out a few different categories. I think we have sufficient time to break out two, which I think are the two most important. In this day and age, this is 2026, with everything that's going on in the world right now. These two, I think, is the most relevant. Let's start with financial. The number one metric that I use to measure how far along this financial freedom journey is I call it the wealth ratio. That's how it was explained to me by my mentors. And what you do is you take your monthly passive income every month and you divide that into your monthly expenses. Now you
mm-hmm,
could use annually as well. So all that tells you is, do you have enough passive income or investment income coming in to cover all of your day-to-day living?
mm-hmm,
And the goal is to get to one. So for everyone that's listening that is not at one, that's what we're working on. And I'll have different steps to guide along how to increase that number. And the whole goal is to go above one to two to three to four. And once you go past five, you're thinking about legacy planning, what to pass down for your kids, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the number to measure yourself against. And for many folks, they are in a job with a salary, and their ratio might be zero, which is okay. My ratio was zero at one point. Everybody's ratio was zero at one point.
mm-hmm,
And the way to grow that is through some kind of a entrepreneurship endeavor. It could be a side hustle. It could also be investments, just
mm-hmm,
depending on the amount of capital that you're working with. If you don't have a lot of capital, I would spend a lot of time and energy on getting skills. Because skills you can monetize into a business.
mm-hmm.
And a business is the faster way to build a lot of wealth really fast with very little capital. If you have some capital that you are willing to invest, then you can start to play this other game where you start to figure out, how much capital do I have? How much return can I get on average by investing into these various kinds of vehicles? And then back calculate the math on how much you need to invest to get to a wealth ratio of one.
Mm-hmm.
And most people here are able to do that math. It's grade 5 here in the US. So most people can do it. And that's how I approach financial freedom on that side. And this is obviously not meant to create a life of luxury. You can buy yachts, you buy
Mm-hmm.
supercars and all this. But it's the first step, is to break the chains that keep you
Yeah,
to your job.
right.
That's it. And you look, if you love your job, great. Get to a ratio of one or above and continue in
Yes.
that job. It's all about choices. It's not a this or that, yes or no, or binary
Mm.
thinking. It's everything, an optionality.
Not all your eggs in one basket. Diversifying, allowing you, as you said, you may actually love your job, but you really do need that extra money. Or
Yeah.
is your job secure? Who knows nowadays? Where else can you diversify? And I think it's having, a few eggs in a few baskets gives you that sense of security that if one should become wobbly, like the virus in 2020, look how that
Hmm.
shook everybody up. We've got wars galore going on right now. We've got economy that's in dire flux. And so how do you diversify where okay, I may love my career, but I would like to have a cushion. I'd like to have investment somewhere else that's working for me, that allows that should one thing go south, there is something else there. And I think if people can get out of that mindset that, tunnel vision and kind of look at diversification, it is that peace of mind. It does give you that freedom. It maybe is that extra income that's a cushion for you, allowed you to do A, B, and C, expand on the house, go on a trip, get another house in another country, whatever the case is. But I think what we have to do is get people to expand their mind into that this is all possible if you follow the system, right? But you've got to want to follow the system. You've got to want to know that, not all your eggs in one basket. Diversify, dabble in something else. Is it your intellect? Is it some money you can put into something? But just be willing to kind of explore and take that step and see where it goes.
And that's the action part. What we
Mm-hmm,
are sharing today, at the end of the day, is knowledge and a tool to give
mm-hmm,
people some kind of guidance. And my path in the intro, of course, this is one path that I know that definitely works. There may
mm-hmm,
be other paths, but
mm-hmm.
at least if you take a part in this journey that I've done, it's a slow but sure way to get to your freedom. And the best thing is you only need to do this once. Once you're free, then you can show this path and pass down the assets to your family, and they shouldn't need to follow the same path again. Now, of course,
Right.
in parenting, we don't want to just hand everything to a silver platter because that's a recipe for them blowing the money on whatever it is.
Not having the values or the gratitude or anything else, right? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the moral compass there.
There's a moral compass. But this is at least one path to
Mm-hmm,
get people to think, okay, do I have a lot of capital? No. Let me invest in a skill and provide some service in
mm-hmm.
in a sector that I know really a lot about. Because in my opinion, everybody knows a lot about something.
Yeah.
You just have to find what it is that you enjoy and go deep in that. What skills are valuable in that niche?
Mm-hmm.
And then on the flip side, if you have capital, maybe you have a 401k, maybe you have a big stock portfolio or inheritance of some sort, but you don't know anything about investing, maybe that's your skill.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking about deploying that capital into something that pays you, buying assets that pays you
Yeah.
every month, and start working on your wealth ratio.
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly how it led me to oil and gas. I'm a part of this group because I like the people. I
Mm-hmm.
see huge trends in the need of oil and gas energy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not directly burning cars, but there are so many different uses of oil and gas. And just looking at the world right now, the Strait of Hormuz being closed, we now
Mm-hmm.
realize plastics short supply, fertilizer short supply, nat gas, oil,
Yes.
yes, of course, almost everything, helium. So all of these are energy intensive, and everything ties to oil and gas.
Mm-hmm.
So not to nerd out on economics, but the economy is energy. If you don't have energy, then we don't have anything. And food is
No,
just
nothing
energy
works.
for
Mm-hmm.
humans. Yes. Food is just energy for humans.
I'm going
So
to throw something out there to you because not a lot of people will look at oil and gas. What about alternative energy? The wind and solar and everything else is that we're trying to wean off oil and gas. And, why should we invest in that? Well, it's just like with everything. If you buy a car, buy a hybrid. We're not ready to go full electric, right? And what powers the electricity anyway? I think it's like it's investing in something that that we're still going to be using for X, Y, and Z years before we transfer over to a different form of energy. So as much as we'd like to look at other energies, we can put eggs in a few baskets there.
yeah, and one thing that might surprise people is throughout ever since the Industrial Revolution, when we moved from wood to coal
Mm-hmm,
to oil, as a species, we've never reduced in the forms of energy we've
mm-hmm.
used. So, for example, coal. That was the power of the Industrial
Yes,
Revolution.
yes.
We use more coal today than back then. So, if we look at the energy matrix breakdown, we've never reduced some form of energy that we no longer use, including
Mm-hmm,
wood.
mm-hmm,
And so, oil is, I mean, if we're looking at it from mathematical probabilities, I'm safe to bet that oil consumption may not go down.
mm-hmm,
Demand will, if it keeps track with the last couple hundred years, then
mm-hmm.
I expect we'll still need oil in some form. With alternative energy, I'm all for the environment. I'm an avid hiker, I backpack, I love the environment. And my big thing is with alternative energy, at a very high level, I want to look at how many barrels of oil does it take to make the thing, and
Mm-hmm.
how many barrels of oil can we save on the other side. So With windmills, we can't forget that it takes a lot of oil to mine the thing, to make the
Mhm.
fiberglass, to transport it, to dispose of it, and yes, to keep it operational. And when you net out all those energy in, energy out, it doesn't look that economical. And
So
that's
oil and gas is still the foundation of energy.
is the foundation for the base load. Not to nerd out, but
Mm-hmm.
solar, wind, those are not on demand things.
Mm-hmm.
Sun shining, wind's got to be blowing for those to work. But as a society, we need base load, predictable power where we can just go up and go down depending on how much people use.
Mm-hmm.
Nuclear, oil and gas, natural gas, those are base load, very reliable. You can always burn more to get more energy to meet the demand.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not to go nerd out on the energy side, but oil and gas, safe to say, it is a critical input for everything that we have now. I'm all
Right.
for using it to convert and discover other kinds of energy. But in the
Yes.
short term, I don't think we can make that transition really quick. It took
No, no.
decades to go from coal to oil.
Yeah. It's eventually, hopefully, we will get there and find different ways of alter, of energy, which we do need for, for this earth, because it can only provide so much. But in the meantime, for quite a number of years or decades to come, oil and gas is going to be there. And the thing is, if you invest in the oil and gas today, at some point, oil and gas will go, okay, maybe we are going to decline and other energies are going to come up. We will diversify, right? Or we will include many wise people that are in industries that look like they're going by the wayside have also invested in the new technologies as well. So, who's to say investing in oil and gas today isn't an investment in future energies?
Yeah, and this is perhaps a bit of investment thinking, is not to have all your eggs in a basket. You could believe in
Exactly.
alternative energy.
Yeah.
Perfect, great. Let's work on that. But are you willing to put all your eggs in alternative energy or this one particular project? No matter how good it sounds,
Hmm.
no investment risk is zero. And so I'd rather have different buckets
Yeah.
across sectors, maybe across geographical locations,
Hmm.
such that hopefully, if wars happen
Yeah.
or if some capital control or financial hassle comes up,
Yeah.
you don't get hit all at once across all your baskets around the world.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm one of those people that invested in alternative energy and into actually a quantum electric motor back in 2006. And unfortunately, we were just too early, too early, and the environment was just not for us at all. Might be a different case now, but yeah, that caused bankruptcy for me. Nothing wrong with the technology, is that the world wasn't ready for it. The people weren't ready for it. And of course, 2008 crash, right? So that changed everything as well. So it is having, don't put everything in one arena. It's kind of dabbling, right? So much here, so much there, so much there, as you said. Well, however good the system is, if it's not diversified, there's always going to be flux and things going up and things going down and things really being needed and things not really. And so it's how do you diversify in a way that should one be stretched, the other is okay.
Yes. And that's how data centers work as well. When I was
Mm,
in big tech, as people would say, we actually forecast 10% machines to sometimes more to actually go down in any given moment.
yeah.
So all of our systems and protocols, we assume machines are going to be down. We assume malicious actors. We assume even clocks. Clock skew is a big thing when you're designing distributed systems because not all the clocks all work the same. 1 second in the UK is not the same as 1 second in Brazil, and
Mm,
that little bit of skew that may seem trivial, but when you're talking about billions or trillions of volume,
yes.
it can add up depending on your application.
Yeah. So, okay, well, let's call to action right now. Somebody's interested, whether it is their intellect or their money. What do they do? What are the steps? We've got people kind of like, okay, all right, what what can I do?
I would say let's look at it in two buckets. If you don't have the capital, look at there's a ton of information on entrepreneurship in YouTube. I
Hmm.
still get a ton of value. And not to say I'm such a brilliant entrepreneur or anything, but I still learn a lot from
Yes,
these people on YouTube. And every single day I see a video that tweaks my thinking a little bit and how I look at business. So if
that's the
you don't
reason
have
I
the
do
capital,
podcasts, right? The same thing. You want to share the information that can pique you, always say, listen, learn, and apply, right?
Mhm. And I think this is a golden age. There might
Hmm.
be more of entrepreneurship because nowadays information businesses I don't think are going to last too much longer. Of course, it depends on the business, but
Hmm.
a lot of content creators are willing to give their best on YouTube for free,
Yeah,
maybe part of their sales. So you, as someone who may not know business and just starting out, you can gain a lot of value.
yeah,
That's somebody's 20, 30 years in business telling you what it
exactly,
is.
exactly.
And you
The
get to skip
wisdom,
10.
the wisdom that can only be
Yes.
acquired through experience. Yeah.
Yes. And you can hopefully avoid some of the bigger mistakes they did.
Mm.
And unfortunately, we're all going to make mistakes, but make your own set of mistakes that you learn from and don't get taken out by.
Potholes, not Grand Canyons. Yeah.
Yes. Go through your own potholes and become better as
Yeah.
a person. I think I've become better nowadays as a father, going through all
Hmm.
these, we'll say, stressful moments. But it's about going onto these free sources that's already readily available out there and try and find a skill that is valuable in this day and
Yeah.
age. I started in marketing and sales, and you know, on the hindsight of it, I actually think sales is the number one skill
Hmm.
for anybody to pick up. And certainly my engineer friends will poo-poo the idea, but I stand by it. It's just really human interaction, human relationships. That's what.
Key there. Let's stay there for a second. Sales is about relationships, right? People don't want to be sold to. They don't want to be a number. They don't want to be, just the dollar sign. They want to know there is a relationship with the person that they're doing business with. They're seen, they're heard, and their needs are being addressed.
Yes. And as a ethical salesperson,
Mm.
we always have to say a no to a client if we don't
Hmm.
think it's the right thing for them.
Yeah,
It's not about selling everybody everything at the highest
exactly.
level of price. It's the relationship. Can your thing actually help people?
Yeah.
And if you have conviction that it'll help that person, it is your duty to
Hmm.
communicate the information to them. Whether they decide yes or no, that is completely up to them. And we're not
Exactly.
going to force any hands.
Right. Is the person getting the right information? Are they feeling supported?
Yes,
Do they have everything they need to make that decision? Right. That's the thing.
100%.
And
Yes,
and then when somebody does make the right decision because they've got the right information and they feel it's right for them, then they can move forward. And then that's where the ethics comes in. You know that you've given them the right information, not a sales pitch, not a tinsel town, not a whoa, rah, 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 but the real foundational facts in which they can make a decision. And you know that whatever choice they make now is sure footed. And I think, them making a sure footed decision and growing from that is, it's more than e-commerce, right? There's a satisfaction knowing that you've kind of shed light on a path for someone to take and they're taking it and they're thriving in it.
100%. And on the other side, to all of my, I guess, fellow colleagues, that if you're the salesperson that convinces somebody to work with you, your personal your personal name is on the line.
Hmm.
That's how I see it. If I help
Reputation. Mhm.
someone, let's say we go to a different place and set up shop, or I help someone invest in oil and gas, and this is all that, I'm putting my name on that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, your reputation is all you have. The money
And
you've
it's
got to
it's
have,
earned one client at a time, right? You
it's
can't buy
earned,
it.
and you lose it all with one bad
Exactly.
mistake.
Exactly. And I think that's something that people need to understand a business. There's a lot of people promoting get rich quick, right?
No,
Investors make a lot of money. And as soon as somebody comes to you with that, move in another direction, right? When it comes into changing your lifestyle, giving you more freedom, um, giving you something that gives you more security, then those are the kind of words that people want to do. I'd like to invest. I'd like to diversify. but I want to know I'm really sure-footed in this, that this is something that's going to root and grow, that I'm not going to bankrupt my family in doing it. So we have enough of the people with the rah-rah. We don't want rah-rah. We want honest conversation.
Honest conversations and position sizing.
Yeah,
As we build the wealth ratio, each and every investment, no matter how good they look, it's you got to have the discipline to not go all in on that. Let's say
yeah,
your total basket is 200,000 US dollars, for example. No matter how good a deal looks, don't blow all 200K. And even though theoretically it's going to pay you 20% or something, that doesn't mean you blow it all on that.
no,
No.
no.
And
What
I,
other
I made
baskets are available, right?
Yes, I made that mistake. This is
Hmm.
really coming from, and investing is hard. Perhaps that's the other bucket that we should cover as well. So if you
Yes,
do have a bit of capital to invest that you manage to save, before every investment, just think how much work it actually took you to save that capital.
yes.
Start with that, and then look at the deal itself.
Mm.
Are the people in it? Is this the right thing for me? Do I think, based on my knowledge and my knowledge of this industry or that industry, is it going to work? So it's that level of assessment, and no question, no hard question should be skipped during the due diligence phase. If the other
Exactly.
person does not have a good answer or tries to blow over that answer, then I would be very suspect
Right.
of
And maybe they don't always know the answer, but if they say, I will investigate and find that answer for you,
yes,
right?
perfectly okay.
And that's the important thing. You don't expect everybody to know anything. You know what? I haven't been asked that before, and I'm going to look into that so I can give you a correct answer. And the thing about oil and gas investment in that, as you said, it's here to stay, not for quite a long time. You're investing in something that's sure-footed, right? That is rooted very deep. So if you are going to start off with something, start with a company that you know that you're going to get a good return on, right? Then you can look at, okay, I am making X, Y, and Z from this investment. What else can I diversify in? That might be a slight risk, but I believe in it. But you know that the money is growing here. So if you are investing in something over there, it's not going to kind of suddenly put you into, foreclosure.
Mhm. And another, I guess, slight tip here, hopefully to avoid mistakes for others, is start with a business that is simple.
Yeah.
I would avoid businesses that are very advanced, like say AI, even though, I know how it all works. I would not invest in a certain software AI group that, even though the tech is good, I don't know if the team is going to execute. I don't know if the market is going to adopt it. But start with a simple business, say like real estate, oil and gas. If
Mm,
people need roofs, if people need oil and energy to get around, then chances are you'll have demand for the investment that you're investing in. Because keep in
right.
mind, the other side of your investment is a business.
Yeah.
So you have to also look at it as, can that business work given the team, given the market dynamics, and given, supply and demand? Can that work? And which, by the way, also makes you a better investor when you have entrepreneur skills. So
Yes.
when you know how businesses work.
And, investing real estate is like commercial property. There's always going to be expansion. People are always going to need more real estate in order to expand their businesses. And so, maybe you want to look at houses and flipping them or renting them out or whatever the case is. But I think commercial property is always a good investment because um, the land itself, or because is it demographically good for people to reach? Is this a good investment for someone to set something up here? And it's like looking at it as not just for today, but for years to come. All right. So it's if there's never a stupid question, right? A lot of people are very afraid to ask a question because they don't want to appear stupid. But it's like you're more stupid not to ask it and wish to God you had later, right? Ask it because your mind is seeing it in this way. And somebody else may look at it and go, don't worry about that. Look at it this way.
It's the story of my growth.
Mm-hmm.
I Every mentor that I've had, they're mentors to me because they have knocked over or eliminated a belief that I had
Mm,
that was not efficient or
right,
effective in achieving my goal. And that's why they're my mentors. And that's actually the difference between why they are where they are and I was not at where they are.
right.
So everything is about learning. And to
Yes.
me, your advice, you said it best. I would advise the same thing to people. Don't assume that you're going to look stupid as you start on this journey.
Right.
There will be mistakes, and all we want to do is make them potholes, not canyons.
Exactly. Exactly. And the thing is about mistakes is that, people talk about failure. Failure for me is when you give up, right? Give up. You've given in, you've just thrown in the towel. Um, for every time you fall in a pothole, for every time you make a wrong decision, it's a lesson learned. How do you apply that lesson? And how do you pivot and go in a new direction with that knowledge?
Yes, and emotions aside, that
Mm,
is always the case.
yeah.
What I found also helpful is maybe it helps to take 5-10 minutes if it's a big pothole, just to wind down a little bit, but then
Yes.
get back into it.
Yes.
And Stoicism has taught me quite a bit on dealing with adversity. And not everyone needs to be a Stoic like Marcus Aurelius, but
Hmm.
certainly acknowledge that we are all emotional beings and
Exactly.
emotions play a big part in our decision making.
There's a difference between being emotional and being tuned into your emotions. We
Mhm.
want people to feel the gut instincts. Does it feel right? Can I feel the alignment in my body? That mind, heart, soul, spirit. I feel this. I don't understand why I feel this, but I really do feel this. So I want to follow that path. And rather than being emotional, where it's like it's all or nothing, because that's not going to get you anywhere, right?
Mhm. And sometimes instincts are very, very useful. One of my
Mm,
mentors put it best where sometimes your gut feeling is just your experience working faster than your logical brain.
the wisdom. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And if you break it down, maybe it was 5 years ago, this one thing happened, and now you were taught that lesson, and now that lesson's coming to kick you in the gut, but you just don't remember that it was that lesson.
right. And now that wisdom of that lesson is actually being your compass to actually applying the right knowledge to the situation.
Yes.
Knowledge is knowledge. I mean, we've got AI, we've got everything else. That it's what we do with the knowledge. That's the big question. Knowledge is always there. But I think the wisdom to know what knowledge is relevant in the moment is really, kind of the experience of life and the willing to explore. Not everything you're going to do is going to work for you. Again, what's the lesson learned here? How do I apply it? It's using that wisdom to know, yeah, so I know this and that. Those are all the numbers and the facts and this and that, but I don't feel it. Whereas, like, this is saying to me, explore this, but I don't know why I want to go down this avenue. It's not something I would ever think of, but you got to say explore it. So explore it, even if you don't understand it, explore it, because all you're lacking there is information, right? Once you know the information, you can make a calculated decision.
Exactly. And hopefully on the financial side, we've given the audience enough to at least make an AI search on
Yes.
what potential business ideas. And today you can even tell AI to give you a business plan. Give me
Yeah.
a 30-day business plan, day to day. Tell me what to do if I wanted to learn X in this niche
Mm.
and make maybe this amount of income, let's say 2, 3 thousand a month. And when you're starting out, AI may be better than you. But when you are in the business game for a while, you can start to discern
Yes.
where the source is coming from and start to build on top of it.
Right.
So, for people starting out, whether you have capital or not, I would say knowing how business works
Mhm.
is really the number one skill, meta skill, I'll say, to really pick up over time. It's not a skill that you would consciously. I
Mm.
should define that, right? It's not a skill that you would consciously work on. It's like I'm gonna get good at business, good at business, good at business. It's what does that mean? How do I get good at
Mm.
business? What is business? It's like, okay, we got systems, we got sales, we got customers on the front end, we got fulfillment, and then we got to deliver on fulfillment and we got to retain customers. That's really it in a nutshell. But there's so many different avenues and channels you can select from that it starts to complicate things. But again, AI can certainly give you a jump start into
Yeah.
it. But the
It's an
good news,
assistant.
yeah, it's an assistant. The good news is so complex that it's very hard to find someone that's good at everything.
Yeah.
So you need to find your piece to get really good, really deep at this one specific thing, and then monetize that skill.
Through that experience, as I said, AI is a great assistant. I use it as an assistant. I also use it as a sounding board, right?
Mhm.
Give it something and see what it says back to me. It's a reflector, right? So, really, really good on that. But at some point, you've got to actually talk to a human, but AI can prepare you with the right questions to ask for the
Yes.
right reason. And I think the number one is why? Why do you want to go down this path? What is it that you want to achieve from that? And I think that should be the first question for anybody. Do I want to invest? Do I want to expand the business? Do I want to invest in another business? Why do I want to do it? What am I looking for? What is my idea of freedom?
Yes. And that is a conversation that you certainly can have with AI. And
Mhm.
to the other point about the other bucket that we want to help people build freedom in is the geographical freedom.
Mhm.
Right now we have wars raging. We may have pandemic, maybe this thing turns into something, maybe not. We had a pandemic.
Yes.
And so right now to be able to get your family out of harm's way, that
Hmm.
is number one for anything. You can have all the money in the world, but if you can't remove yourself from a chaotic environment or
Right.
suboptimal, then you really don't have freedom. So
Mhm.
that's the second big bucket. Total freedom. This really why I started this because it's my life that I live. A lot of folks may not know that you can separate where you live, where you work, where you bank, where you pay
Mhm.
taxes, where you invest, where you incorporate. All those are separate toggles for you to adjust. So you can live somewhere but be a tax resident of another place.
Right.
You can incorporate your business elsewhere and do business, say, wherever it makes sense for your business, US,
Hmm.
Canada, Europe. And so that's the other piece. In terms of geographical freedom, most of the time, it's about mobility, your
Hmm.
mobility freedom. Can you remove yourself from a specific situation?
Right.
Right. Look at all the unfortunate refugees from wars.
Mhm.
If they had another residency, if they had another passport, they could have just left
Yeah.
if it got bad enough.
Yeah.
And so really that's the second piece is do you have another place to go, a plan B location, maybe another passport that you can travel under if your main one somehow doesn't work? And a classic example during the pandemic in 2020, when the thing was kicking off, countries were shutting the borders.
Hmm.
Tourist visas are not given.
Right.
So you could count on your US, maybe UK passport for a lot of visa-free access, but when countries shut down, at one point the US passport had the travel ability of, I think, a Ghana or something. I don't remember the stat, but you basically couldn't go anywhere as
Hmm.
a with a US passport. If you had another one, or certainly a residency somewhere, that could get you in.
Yeah.
Because one of the immigration law is really you have different totem poles. As
Hmm.
a visa-free tourist, you have the weakest claim to enter the country. If you're a resident, much stronger.
Yeah. The ability to remove yourself from the crisis. Even if you're in your own country and you can't move to another country, where can you move within the country that
Yes.
feels safer, a safer environment? And that is the freedom to be able to pursue safety, right?
Yeah.
And
It's all
we
about
can't do
options.
that if we have no dimes to rub together.
It's all about the options. I
Yes.
don't know what the world is going to look like
Hmm.
in 30, heck, even 5 years. I don't know the world looks
Right.
like.
Oh, we're going to
But
see a lot more turmoil before we see calm, but the calm is coming, but we have to go through the turmoil first.
I tend to think so. History's on that side of the argument.
Yeah.
But even though I don't know what's going to happen, if I have a comprehensive set of options, then I can counter that uncertainty with the options that I have,
Yeah.
optionality. And same thing, a lot of the efforts, the projects, the various assets that I build, it's ultimately to pass down the knowledge
Yeah.
that was used to build these assets. And
Right.
that way, kids, other families' kids can have the same tools to create their own freedom.
I think it's kind of looking at today, tomorrow, and in the future. What is the absolutes? What are we going to absolutely need? We're going to need energy. We're going to need food. We're going to need medical health. We're going to need things. And that's, when we went through the pandemic, who were the heroes? The nurses and the doctors, but the people of the grocery stores, the people that got food to the grocery stores, despite putting themselves at risk. And we looked at those people, whereas before we didn't see them. And they were seen and they were appreciated. And so I think when we're looking at an investment, is where can we invest that we know that no matter what shoot hits the fan, that is always going to be needed, right? And I think that is kind of a good place to start off with investment, something that no matter what is going to be needed, like oil and gas.
And actually, just on oil and gas, a bit of my investment thesis, which people please don't take this as investment advice. There are certain assets that I would like to invest into that counterbalance all the other stuff that I have. Maybe it's only 20% of my portfolio. But if things go, we see the things hit the fan, that 20% does really, really well. And oil is one of these geostrategic commodities that every country has to have.
Yes.
If there's turmoil, chances are the price
like
will
now.
Like,
Yes.
yes, unfortunately, right now. And so even though as a human being, I hate seeing war,
Yes.
and I hate that this is happening, but as a father responsible for managing my family, I do have to take a position to manage my portfolio to ensure that the financial side is still covered no matter what happens.
Exactly. We are in transition as a human race right now. My theory on it is like the third dimensioners, the people that are angry, greedy, the oligarchs, the dictators, and all of those people know that already the frequency of humanity is already changing, where that doesn't wash. You can be wealthy, but how do you support others? How do you seed opportunity for others? It's not about extreme wealth, which is always a subsidy for inner insecurity, the smallness in the inside.
Yes.
And the more we enrich people within themselves, in their own enrichment and abundance with who they are, what they're here to do, and just who they are as a beautiful human being, we are enriching society. And we're going to look at that. Whereas money isn't the dictator, it is the sense of freedom and security, but it isn't the definition of you as a human being. But we will still need money. Having been a person that knows what happens when you lose it, right? Especially in your 50s, living out of your car is not something that is terribly pleasant. So we need to look at how do we diversify our portfolio in a way that in this transition supports us, but in the future, as it grows, allows you to turn around and be a supporter of humanity in some way or other. So I always say, go make a shootload of money. Please do. What do you do with that money? That's going to seed opportunity for other people. So whether you're supporting your family, supporting yourself, it isn't about the Maserati. We're not impressed. We're really impressed if you turn around and support another business or support an ingenious idea, right? So please go make the money. Secure yourself, secure your family. But if you're really making a lot, go and secure a brilliant idea.
100%. It's all about passing it forward. We don't get to keep any of it.
Right.
In 100 years, I won't be here.
Right.
About...
I certainly won't. But it's what we leave.
It's what
Are
we
we
leave.
leaving something that, are we leaving it better than the way we found it? Right. And that goes for anything, anywhere. Are we leaving it better? And your financial freedom is going to give you the opportunity to go and do something that you love. Maybe you've wanted to be a philanthropist, But how can you be when you're struggling paycheck to paycheck? But when you make those investments that are giving you those dividends, it's like I now can be supportive and philanthropic on something that really needs me, where my passion and my heart is, because I am financially secure. So it's not about getting rich. And look at me. I have interviewed, I've been doing this 14 years. I have interviewed people that bought the Kool-Aid, have the big fast car, have the big house, but they were working 20 hours a day, right? They
Mm.
lost the wife, they lost the kids, they nearly died, or they lost everything. And I called that the cosmic 2x4. And from those ashes, they were reborn to realize that carrot, that illusion does not serve me. It's really what's meaningful in my life. Money is necessary, but at the same time, how does it enrich my calling, my purpose? And having the security of money to enrich your purpose is really what money is about.
Certainly. It is, to really break it down to me, it is a tool that
Yes,
I like to build.
yes, yes,
And I have to use the tool. Otherwise,
yes.
having a shiny tool in the shed doesn't do much for
No,
me.
exactly. Let the tool work for you, right? We're
Yes.
working for the money. If we invest properly, the money's working for us.
Yes.
Let's turn it around. Mhm.
A lot of these are the mindset shifts that
Yes,
mentors and just getting out there and talking to people.
right.
And perhaps the last bit for really those that don't have the capital, have to be in their job. I'm trying to construct like the worst case scenario to dig yourself out of. And by the way, it's definitely everybody can dig themselves out of that hole.
Yeah,
All it takes is a mindset shift. But let's
yes.
say you're in the worst case possible. You have to be at the job. You're living paycheck to paycheck already, and maybe you already have credit card debt.
Mhm.
You're working 2, 3 jobs already. That the best way, I think, is to, since you're already working 2, 3 jobs, why not swap? I mean, everybody knows their schedule. Why not swap or add a job at a smaller startup or company that offers the skill that
Mm,
you want to pick up? And at least it's something to look forward to when you show up at work.
right. And
And
maybe even the dividends, a startup, being a part of it. You're an investor through the work.
yes, because investment, let's not forget investment. Yes, money you can invest, but you can
Yes.
invest your time,
You can
energy,
invest intellect. Yeah.
very
Your
much so.
skills, right? Are you giving your skills to someone that's making a whole load of money but paying you a little? Or can you invest your skills in a company that respects those skills and gives you a dividend for it that you really can see is going to grow into something that really is going to benefit many people?
Yes. And I think that's called the entrepreneur rather than
Mm,
the entrepreneur,
yeah.
is within an organization. So
Yes.
for folks that have to be at a job, then look to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
What skills are available at the company? If there's
Hmm.
not, then maybe look for a second position that has that skill that you're
Hmm.
after. And by doing so, my personal outlook is we're always just one skill away from doubling our revenue.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
It's that.
actually again interviewed people. It's like I did this, but I got drawn to this and I started investing my time and my skills in this. And now this is where predominantly my income comes from, and I can let go of that. And so it's be willing to have feet in two doors, really, right?
Mhm. Especially if we're starting to build
Hmm.
the wealth ratio from scratch.
Yeah,
We have to be open intellectually to everything
right.
and scratch it off if it doesn't make sense. And AI certainly can help whittle down a lot of that. And
Hmm.
and these days I do see various investors with no oil and gas experience at all, but they spend half an hour or so on AI and they can ask really good questions. So knowledge is no longer a barrier for people to
Right.
enter into a realm.
It's how to use the knowledge. I always go back to that. How to use
Yeah,
the knowledge is available. How do you use it that it's productive? How do you use it that it's beneficial? How do you use it that it's going to pay you back? Right.
exactly. So really, at the result of this podcast, for those that are listening, it's about how to use what we talked about today
Yeah.
and have this outlook that you are one skill, one opportunity away from unleashing truly your own spirit from within.
Exactly. We want people to have the time, to have the energy to really explore their true meaningful purpose here on earth. It isn't to work 9 to 5 in a job that you dislike, not making enough money, trying to make ends meet, and feeling miserable. That is not what you were designed for. You were
Mhm.
designed for something to be so much more, right? So you want to be in some form of career that you feel is supporting you, not just financially, but supporting your own personal growth, supporting you in a way of your own exploration, of your own discovery, right? It's not about becoming the servant. There's a difference between becoming of service and servitude, right? So stop being the servant. You can be of service where it is equally benefiting you.
Yes. And along that path, I hope everybody will find what they're truly passionate about and build their wealth ratio. So I truly do think once your family isn't, when your family decision making isn't
Mhm.
so driven by what you have to do, where
Mhm.
the environment or maybe finances forces your hand, everybody can be a wonderful parent.
Yes,
I do think childhood trauma comes from scarcity, insecurity, and scarcity.
yes. And a feeling of unworthiness,
Mhm.
never being enough, never having enough, never seeing enough. That scarcity is way beyond just the money. And, you've got rich people that are poor inside.
Yes.
Again, it's the education of what does money allow you to do? And it allows you to grow into the true meaningful purpose person that you're meant to be. It allows you to explore the essence of who you are and what you're here to do. So you're investing in yourself when you're investing something where it gives you financial freedom.
Yeah. And one of the funniest, there was an argument that I witnessed, and one of the funniest takedowns that I've noticed, that I've seen, is one gentleman had said, the guy was driving a Ferrari, he
Mm.
scratched the other car, and he was all about how I'm better than you because look at my car, look at my
Yeah.
suit.
Hmm.
And the gentleman was just, look at you. You're so poor that all you have is money. And
Precisely, precisely everything. As I said, the true e-commerce is heart, soul, and spirit, is the enrichment and the abundance of you as a human being, right? Money is a tool that allows you to have the freedom to be that person. Money is a tool. It's not a definition of who you are. It is a tool that allows you to discover really who you are and what you're here to do. I'm not impressed by your $1 trillion. I'm impressed with what you do with it, right? So, and
exactly.
I think we're changing that whole view as a society, because we've seen right now this opulence and the absolute disgrace in their action with their money, and how it doesn't matter if you handed them the universe, it would not be enough because they're lacking and so empty inside. Nothing will ever be enough. So when you feel enough inside, you're already rich. Money is something that's going to support that enrichment. We need it.
Yes.
We can't get away without it. We can't live without it. Let it work for you. Let it support you. Let it allow you to explore life, explore other countries, explore other cultures, explore yourself and what you are able to do, right? That's what we're designed to do, is to be exploratory creatures. Let the money investment support that exploration.
Yeah. And that's partially why I do this,
Hmm.
going back to the very first thing that we talked about is how I split my time between different countries.
Hmm.
And to me, it's just keeping my eyes open
Hmm.
because there are a little under 200 countries around the world, which means there are many, many different cultures to answer
Yes.
the key questions of how to live. And
Hmm.
as I go around to these different places, I get to see perspectives that
Hmm.
I essentially adopt if it really overrides my previous limiting belief
Hmm.
about myself, about the world, about my family, etc. And so I do want to encourage people to start really working on the wealth ratio. And obviously, but there's many different ways. But to
Yes.
me, that's the most clean cut way that I measure if I'm making progress or not.
Right.
And we all need that compass. It's like, well,
Yes.
emotions, we fluctuate day to day.
Yes.
I could have a really good day today. I sleep on it. Everything resets in the morning. But
Exactly.
that metric that you can look at, maybe you write it on your vision board or something like that. That's the goal to work on.
Hmm.
Step number one, right? Financial. Then work on all the intrinsics.
Yeah. Is all that money can buy. It's buying you the freedom. It's buying you the freedom to expand your mind, to expand your horizon, to learn more, to become more, to share more, right? And that's the beauty of money. And nobody really can live on the salary because there's always something that comes up that zaps that salary. The car breaks down, this happens, that happens, and every time you think, oh, I've got some extra money, something will come to kind of take it away from you. So if you've got something working elsewhere that is making money for you, or that you're working in a job that you can financially grow in, not just be on a set salary, but grow in, then truly you're actually understanding what money is allowing you to do, that freedom to make choices that before you couldn't do.
Yes.
So
And
how do
outside of the, go
people
ahead.
talk to you about this? And kind of even just look at, I've heard you, I want this kind of freedom, I don't know where to start.
I would say there are two buckets of people, right? Those with the capital actually comes down to the same two buckets of people. If you're have the capital and you're ready to start looking at different industries, investment projects, reach out to me at crownforge.energy. There's a form on the website. We don't have to talk about oil and gas. We can just
Mm-hmm.
talk about investments. How, why.
Crownforge.energy. Mm-hmm.
Yes, crownforge.energy without the E, the American spelling. And we can talk about anything, including oil and gas. And I'll really just share why I invest
Mm-hmm.
in the deal and what purpose oil and gas serves in my portfolio. So you
Mm.
can see if it's for you or not. Because
Right.
sometimes it's not for you.
All right.
And if people want to find just general geographical freedom, social freedom, perhaps how you run your family, totalfreedom.io is the other place to get a hold of me. And there's a form there as well.
So totalfreedom.io or crownforge, FORGE.energy. You also on LinkedIn
Yes, I am
under
on
Mike-IGA. And you
LGA.
and you have
LGA.
a YouTube channel as well that people can go to. Is that
Yes.
under your name?
That is under the Total Freedom channel
Right.
that I can share the link about. And on LinkedIn, I am Mike-LGA.
And the thing is, so we've been conditioned to conform and comply. And let's take that conformity and that complying and throw it out and go, no, I want the freedom of choice. I want to choose where I go, what I do, why I do it. Right. And that is the human right. You were born with that freedom of heart, soul, and spirit. And then I was sent off to school. I produced a book, Our Forgotten Children, a couple of years ago, an anthology around the system that is not serving our families. And I think we have to look at it's not working. Society's broken. And that's the reason why we're in so much flux right now. We need to change the way we do things. We need to change the way we look at our work, where we look at our life, where we look at our contribution, our thoughts and everything, the way we even look at ourselves, the way we've been conditioned to look at ourselves, and throw that conditioning out and start making choices of what you desire from the inside out, not the outside in, and making those investments or just choosing to look at a career in a different way, but the choice to make a different path. This should also have gone on to the genre of choose positive living because everything is about a choice. So you are your business. Whether
Yeah.
you're in business or not, you are your business. So investing in yourself, while in a job or in a career, or actually taking some money and putting it somewhere that could grow for you, is an investment in yourself and in your freedom. But if you don't know how, you've done it. Mike's done it, right? Pick that brain and see what he has to share with you of where you can go. Because you just maybe, I know I want to do something different. I know I don't want to be in this rut anymore. I want to make choices that are my choices, but I need them to be educated. I need to know what systems will work for me. I need to know that I am actually doing something moderately safely, right? And so I can move forward. So the big problem always people have is, but how do I do it? I know I want to, but how do I do it? So Mike will help you on that path to start looking at what your options are and where you can go. He's done it. He's experiencing it. He's dedicated his life to it. So reach out to Mike and have Mike help you on that journey. And which is the best site to reach out to you on?
Both would work, but I would say the best email, if you want to get a hold of me directly, would be just mike@totalfreedom.io. That comes to me.
Excellent. So you've heard this show. You know that you'd like to pivot. You're not quite sure what's right for you. Let Mike help you along the way. But please don't stay where you are just because you feel it's a paycheck, right? It's my lot in life. No, throw all of that out. There is opportunity for you waiting for you to change your life, to find that freedom of choice, that freedom of exploration, that freedom of contribution, right? It's waiting for you. You've just got to make that choice. And that choice is to say, I want something different. Now you've listened, you've learned, now apply. Make some action. Reach out to Mike.
And if I can add one more thing to really put into perspective, when I was in software and I pivoted into sales, I went from a really nice salary of, let's say, mid six figures to zero. And starting from zero, learning sales as an engineer, that
Mm-hmm.
is a fish out of water.
Yes,
So, not to say what I did was extremely tough or you should do exactly what I did, but I just want to impress upon the people that are listening that you can do it. No matter where you start, where you are, as long as you keep your consistent effort and learn something every day and get 1% better, by math, you're going to be 37 times better in 365 days.
exactly. Exactly. Do not be defined about where you are and what you're doing right now, right? Explore what other options are waiting for you. I've interviewed people that are aerospace engineers, that are rocket scientists, and they've completely pivoted to a totally other way of life, right? Just because you're here doesn't mean you can't be there. The thing is, are you willing to walk it? Are you willing to explore it? That's the first thing. The biggest leap is the first step, right, Mike?
Always,
Mm-hmm.
always.
But once you've made that first step, the second, the third, and the fourth, they become a lot easier because you understand why you're doing it and what you want from it, right? That's most important. So reach out to Mike. He's going to help you. Okay. Thank you, Mike, so much for sharing here today. I love your journey. You know, we all need to not just put all our eggs in one basket and not become complacent and not see this as our lot in life. Or the world has gone to you know what, and you know, what can I do? There are always, always options. And it's having investing in those options so that they work for you and give you a choice in life. So thank you so much for sharing that.
It's absolute pleasure.
So until next time, folks, remember, you are not meant to be just in one place. You're meant to expand your mind, your heart, your soul, your spirit, and your own person. Maybe you're meant to live in another country. Maybe you're meant to just go into a completely different job altogether. The whole point is you don't know until you're willing to explore, but the options are there. So until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you to listen to right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Come and hear the illumination that's going to shed light on your path.
Find your path with the knowledge of others.